Okay, so when we hear the name Elon Musk, I think most of us, we picture this titan of industry, right? Someone launching rockets, building futuristic cars.
Yeah, almost like a modern-day superhero figure in some ways. Seems unstoppable.
Exactly. But what if his story actually started, well, not with all that glitz, but with some really extreme hardship, like serious setbacks that would just completely stop most people?
It's genuinely a bit jarring when you dig into it.
Yeah.
And it really challenges that superhero idea you mentioned, this deep dive. It's going to show just how much that early adversity shaped him, shaped his resilience.
And that's exactly what we're getting into today. We're exploring Elon Musk's early life, those often overlooked, honestly brutal challenges he faced on his way up. Our main source here is a really revealing interview from the Future Talks podcast. It was called Elon Musk, From Scrapes to Space.
A great title, actually.
It is. And our mission really is to uncover that surprising origin story behind his resilience. You know, the moments he almost lost absolutely everything and the kind of unbelievable mindset that let him push through.
It definitely paints a much more complex picture, more vulnerable maybe than the headlines suggest. Lets you reconsider what success even looks like.
And it starts surprisingly early. I mean, picture this. Elon Musk as a, quote, nerdy, shy kid. He said he got beaten up a lot at school.
Yeah.
And even, get this, hospitalized after being pushed downstairs and kicked. That's a world away from the image we have now, isn't it?
Absolutely. It completely shatters that narrative right from the get-go.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, how does that kind of childhood trauma fuel the drive we see later?
Right.
He talks about growing up in South Africa, being that nerdy, shy kid who loved books more than people.
Yeah.
Getting beaten up frequently, having his lunch stolen every day, just sounds isolating.
And that specific incident, being hospitalized after a group of kids pushed me down a staircase and kicked me until I blacked out. I mean, that's incredibly raw. Just astonishing trauma for a kid.
It really is. And you see how books became more than just a hobby. They were an escape, right? A necessary refuge where he could mentally build a different future. He talked about imagining rockets, space travel, computers.
So it wasn't just daydreaming, it was almost like plotting an escape route.
Exactly. It seems like the beginnings of that long-term vision were born directly out of needing to escape that harsh reality.
So that vision becomes his lifeline, basically, and it pushes him to make this huge leap. He leaves South Africa at 17, goes to Canada first.
Right, eventually heading to the U.S.
And he arrives with almost no money, maybe a few $100, just plunges him straight into survival mode.
Which leads to that infamous boiler job story.
Oh, yeah.
He describes crawling inside this narrow, scorching hot tunnel full of toxic dust just to scrape out residue. Yeah. Sounds suffocating. Really physical, dirty work. But as he put it, it paid better than flipping burgers. It wasn't theoretical hardship. It was just grinding reality to survive.
And he actually said something like, that job made later rocket explosions feel like a picnic.
Huh. Yeah, that certainly puts things in perspective, doesn't it?
It really does.
And you have to wonder how an experience like that, so visceral, so early on, might kind of rewire your tolerance for pain or adversity later,
Makes sense. Like, financial risks maybe feel different after facing literal suffocation just to earn a living.
Could be. So, okay, when does he shift from just surviving to actually building that vision? It's the early 90s, right? He sees the internet coming.
Yeah, he had this foresight, sensed it would change the world. And that leads him to start his first company, Zip2, with his brother.
Zip2 was really quite ahead of its time, providing online maps and business directories to newspapers. Most people weren't even thinking like that then.
Totally. And they lived that classic startup life, sleeping in the office, showering at the YMCA, coding day and night, the whole 9 yards.
But that first taste of success also came with a pretty hard lesson.
Yeah, the investors. They decided he wasn't experienced enough and basically replaced him as CEO of his own company. He called it painful.
Ouch. Imagine building something from nothing, pouring everything into it, and then getting sidelined. That's a rough introduction to the world of venture capital.
For sure. The company eventually sold to Compaq for $307 million. His share was about $22 million.
So a big financial win on paper.
Right. But also clearly this early harsh lesson about control, how quickly it can slip away, a real mix of success and heartbreak, as he put it.
And it's a pattern that almost repeats itself, doesn't it? Which takes us to PayPal.
Exactly. After Zip2, he takes his millions and jumps into online banking. He saw that as the next big thing. Starts X.com in 1999. The goal: make money transfer as easy as sending an email.
which, again, sounds obvious now, but back then, people were deeply skeptical. He said they thought putting money on the internet was insane.
Right. But despite that, the company grows, it merges, eventually becomes PayPal. Huge success.
But history repeats. He gets pushed out as CEO again. This time, he says he was replaced while I was literally on vacation.
Wow. Just gone while he's away. Another sharp reminder that control can slip away fast.
It's incredible, though. Despite these leadership battles, his initial vision keeps creating enormous value. eBay buys PayPal for $1.5 billion. His cut this time, about $180 million.
Okay, man, this is the point, right? $180 million. Most people are thinking private island, retirement, done.
Absolutely. But that wasn't his thinking at all. He was very clear he didn't care about having money for luxury.
Right.
For him, it was all about what I could build with it.
So wealth isn't the goal, it's the fuel.
Precisely. It's a tool to achieve these much, much bigger ambitions he has.
Yeah.
Societal level stuff.
And that leads to what seemed at the time like an absolutely unthinkable bet. He takes almost all of it, that $180 million.
Practically everything.
And plows it into 3 brand new, incredibly risky companies: Tesla, SpaceX, and SolarCity.
People thought he was completely nuts. I mean, not just bold, but actually crazy. And honestly, for a while there, it looked like they might be right. He nearly lost everything.
Which brings us to that period he calls hell year, 2008.
Oh man, 2008. He talks about being right on the edge of total financial collapse, literally having to borrow money from friends to pay rent. All his cash was tied up in these struggling companies.
And SpaceX in particular was having very public, very expensive failures. He said, our first 3 launches all exploded.
Imagine that, each one costing millions, shattering confidence. He admitted even he started to doubt if it was possible after the 3rd failure.
So they were desperate, which led to this unbelievable gamble. They scraped together funding for just 1 more launch.
And they announced it publicly. If the 4th launch fails, SpaceX is dead. Just incredibly high stakes, all or nothing.
And then the 4th launch worked.
Miraculously, yeah, it worked. And then, just a few months later, NASA awarded them a huge contract. That, he said, saved the company.
But at the same time, Tesla was also teetering, almost bankrupt.
Right. Investors just didn't believe in electric cars back then. The skepticism was massive.
So he faces this agonizing decision literally on Christmas Eve 2008. Does he put his last remaining personal money into Tesla to keep it alive, or let it die?
And he decides to split what little he had left between Tesla and SpaceX, basically betting everything on 2 horses that both looked likely to fail. He even thought maybe both would die.
It's just, wow, the pressure.
But his perspective on it is fascinating. He doesn't really talk about it as a risk. He calls it necessity. He said, if something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are against you.
So it's not recklessness in his mind, it's commitment.
Almost like a moral imperative tied to the vision. The personal cost, even bankruptcy, seems secondary if the goal is important enough.
He called 2008 hell year. Said his personal life collapsing, every headline calling me a fool, just unimaginable pressure from every angle. How do you even sustain belief through that?
Well, that really gets to his core philosophy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It seems to be what fuels the whole mission. He says he's, quote, indifferent to billions.
Which sounds like something a billionaire would say, but his actions kind of back it up.
They do. He insists his focus is always on the mission, not the money. Money is just a tool. Again, not an end goal, but a means to solve problems.
And those problems are huge. Clean energy, sustainable transport, making life multiplanetary. It's not about accumulating wealth, it's about deploying it for these massive challenges.
And tied to that is his view on failure. It's almost clinical.
Right.
When a rocket explodes or when production fails, it's not the end. It's just data.
That reframe is incredibly powerful. Failure isn't defeat, it's feedback.
Exactly. Which leads to his line, as long as you don't quit, you're never truly defeated. It allows for learning, iteration, adaptation.
But he's human, right? He admits it's overwhelming sometimes, says he's cried over failures, felt crushed.
Yeah, he acknowledges the emotional toll. But his counter, always, is the long-term vision. He says, if your vision is long-term enough, the temporary pain doesn't matter.
That perspective seems key. Not worrying about tomorrow's stock price, but thinking about humanity 50 or 100 years from now.
Right. If the ultimate goal is, say, make humanity a multiplanetary species, then a few rocket explosions, however devastating in the moment, are just bumps on a very long road. It's this profound commitment to a future way beyond his own lifetime.
Which, of course, comes at a cost. He's pretty open about the personal sacrifice. Says his personal life has taken hits. Relationships are hard when you work 100 hours a week.
Yeah, that level of focus requires trade-offs. But he seems to believe it's worth it for the potential future impact.
So looking forward, what's driving him now?
It's still those huge, ambitious goals. He talks about AI, specifically ensuring it aligns with humanity's benefit, scaling sustainable energy worldwide, and of course the big one, making life multiplanetary. Mars is still the big dream.
He talks about going to Mars almost like it's just another engineering problem. How does he maintain that confidence against such, well, astronomical odds?
He kind of flips the script on that. He points out, every great idea sounds crazy at first. Airplanes, electricity, the internet, all of it was impossible until it wasn't.
Huh. Using history to justify pushing boundaries.
Exactly. A way to normalize tackling things that seem impossible today.
What an absolutely incredible journey we've traced. I mean, from a bullied kid in South Africa finding escape in books, to literally scraping gunk out of boilers in Canada just to get by.
Unbelievable.
To risking every single penny he earned on ventures everyone called insane. His story is just this repeating pattern of near collapse, setbacks.
And just pushing through, time after time.
Fueled by this just unwavering belief in a future he feels he has to build.
It's really less about overnight genius and much more about, I think, extreme resilience and this unique ability to see failure not as an end, but as, like you said, data, critical information. And underpinning it all is that almost obsessive, long-term, multi-generational vision. His definition of success just seems fundamentally different. It's not about the billions. It's about shifting humanity's entire trajectory.
So listening to all this, it really makes you think. What does it actually mean for you listening right now to pursue something that feels important enough, even when the odds feel stacked against you?
Yeah.
What huge long-term challenge could you maybe tackle if you started reframing failure as just feedback and committed to a vision bigger than just the next quarter or the next year, something to chew on?